doing a motion capture for the character Colossus in Deadpool, 20th Century Fox new superhero movie. And Greg, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for meeting with us. Do you, when you first heard that you were up, to do the motion capture for Colossus, did you know that Colossus was going to be such a big role? Because I didn't have any idea. I don't think a lot of people did.
Actually, I knew there was a substantial amount of dialogue, but it's actually more shots than I imagined originally. I mean, I'd been working with Tim Miller for a few years, even back on the test for Deadpool. That was, I think, 5 years ago, maybe. But I wasn't aware of how integrated into the story he was going to be.
And so, tell me exactly what it is, the process of how you do the motion capture and how that combines with, the actor who's physically portraying him and, the voice.
Yeah,
how does
sure.
that all work together?
Well, so first, Tim Miller is really fluent with technology. I mean, he has his own visual effects company, and he's been up on the technology. So he realized that he could take different aspects of what different actors could bring to the table and kind of Frankenstein those things together. So in this case, you have Andre on set actually doing the physical stuff. There's another stunt man who does all the fighting and things that you see. There's a stuntman from Vancouver who actually is the sort of the likeness of Colossus, and Stefan does the voice, and then I do the facial performance. For me, I didn't have to worry about the body stuff, thank goodness, because I could not move like that in the fights. But then Stefan did a lot of the audio beforehand, so they'd give me the audio files, I'd rehearse just to get the timing down, so that I didn't have to think about that. Because when you're performing, you don't want to be thinking about things. You want to actually just be. It's a behavioral kind of thing. You want to be reacting to things, not thinking about are my lips moving properly. So I rehearsed for days along with the audio files just to get those down. And then when we're actually filming, it's looking at live action plates and having Tim Miller say, "This is what's going on here. This is what Colossus is. Is he upset? Is he frustrated? And this is the kind of expression that these are the kinds of feelings that are going on in him right now." So that's what you want to do.
So when you're going through this, you're in Colossus's head, like you're doing these different expressions. It's amazing to me as a fan and person that consumes these kinds of movies, the amount of detail. Like, a wrinkled brow, especially with a character like Colossus who's made out of metal. I mean, how does that work?
Well, I think first is that Tim's vision was to make him as humanly chrome as possible. And then about 2 years ago, we advanced the technology in such a way that so the MOVA system captures all the subtlety and the detail and at high resolution of the performance. But 2 years ago, we developed a technology to transfer that performance to a computer-generated character mathematically, instead of older methods would filter some of the performance. With this now, the very little animator intervention, and since the MOVA system picks up all the wrinkles and all those features and the movement so well, we wanted to be able to transfer that. And this new system, Direct Drive from Digital Domain, does that. So that gave Tim the ability to have a character's face be full screen and be believable. And I think it worked. This is the first time the technology has been used on a hero character in the film with those big shots.
Excellent. Now, when, like you were talking about collaborating with the other actors that are doing the same character, now, do you get a lot of time, FaceTime with the characters? Is it something like, like voice acting, a lot of the times you go in the booth, you do your part, and you're kind of by yourself?
That's what it's like.
Okay.
And the other thing is that to be really efficient financially, Tim did the whole movie up front, started editing it together, and then figured out what were the real lines that Colossus was going to say. So we didn't even start filming Colossus until September, and we didn't finish until Thanksgiving. So by then, all the principal photography had been done except for a few pickups. So my only interaction was with the live action plates, audio files from Stefan, and then when we were filming, just working with Tim.
So all that together brings to life this character. And, Colossus, he's a favorite of mine, he's X-Men, and is there a possibility, and I don't know, I'm sure there's going to be a sequel, is there more kind of looking at branching off with Colossus by himself, or?
I would love that, because I think what's really interesting about Colossus is he's I think he's kind of a different kind of superhero because he's such a real gentle soul, and there's a lot of depth to his character, and I think that'd be awesome to explore. But I mean, I have no idea what future plans for Colossus are. I was busting Tim saying, well, I think we ought to have Colossus go back to the farm and do,
Awesome.
do stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and sorry, just going through my notes.
Colossus in love.
So
He can't be a taxi cab driver though, because he apparently has trouble fitting in a taxi.
That's true. So when going into this role, did you have a lot of background? Were you like a comic book person? Did you know about
No,
Colossus
I'm not. So when I finally discussed playing Colossus or doing the facial performance for Colossus with Tim, I ran home and I started researching his background, not the comic side,
Sure.
but his history. Because as an actor, those are the things that help you.
Mm-hmm.
So about growing up on the farm, what happened to his sister and the rest of his family, having some understanding of those helps understand like his behavior as the human side of his character. So I did a lot of research on that, but I didn't read any of the comics because I didn't want any of that stuff to get into the character. Not in a bad way. I mean,
Sure.
I just want to understand who he is,
Sure.
not the comic sense where what he's doing. That
This
makes
is your
sense.
unique Colossus.
Yeah.
Also, as an aside, and I don't know, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know.
Oh
if
man.
any of that. I haven't seen. I wish I
You're
did.
gonna. I think.
But I'm like a kid waiting for Christmas. And I'm just wondering, with Colossus's relationship with Kitty, I don't know if that comes in, if Kitty's in the movie. I don't. Maybe it's a spoiler. I don't know. Maybe that's something you don't want to give away. But I was also wondering, if because he seems to be, from what I gather, is he's kind of his angel on his shoulder. Deadpool's kind of conscious because Colossus, even though he's immensely powerful, like you said, he's a gentle giant.
Yeah, he only fights when he absolutely has to.
He doesn't want to hurt anybody unless
Right.
he really has to. And, So, like, he's the opposite of the Hulk, right?
Yes.
So,
Well, I think there's lots of aspects of the
Sure.
Hulk that are actually the same.
Okay.
But Colossus is a more developed human, if that makes sense.
Sure. Is there anything you would want people to know going into the movie about your performance, or about?
No, I'm a big one. I wouldn't even go see the cuts of the film until it was finished, because I'm a big fan of like see it when it's all together, see it when it's finished, and just have a good time. So I wouldn't say anything about that.
Well, one last question.
Yeah.
Would you say that there's a Greg LaSalle? Like I had heard like interviews with Ray Park when he did Darth Maul or when he did Toad and X-Men, how there were some signature moves that were him that people could tell, oh, that's Ray Park. Now, what are the Greg LaSalle kind of signature facial things that you do?
Well,
like
it's not me necessarily,
yeah.
but one of the big things was Tim was like, he's got to have eyebrow, because he doesn't have eyes.
Sure.
So the eyebrow movement and what's going on around the eyes had to be really important. So that we did a lot of takes where it was choreographing exactly what was going on with the eyebrows, things like that. So I'm not sure they're signature moves, but I think they're important moves that help get across what's going on in Colossus's head.
Oh, excellent. Well, I can't wait to see the picture, and thank you so much for talking.
Thanks.
To
It was
me
nice
about
to
it.
meet you.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and good luck with it. And I
Thanks.
look forward to
Thanks.
seeing it. Thanks a lot.
Good.
All right.
Thanks, Alan.
Take care. Okay.